Never regret your past, rather embrace it as the teacher that it is. Robin Sharma. Welcome to Lesson 3 in your Keys to Communication video series. The first pillar of great communication is seeking the thoughts and opinions of others. There's nothing that demonstrates how you value someone more than when you seek their thoughts and opinions. Often in our lives, we love to try to convince people of our points of view. We love sharing our ideas and our anecdotes and stories and all these things in life that are important to us. Unfortunately, we end up inflicting our own self-worth and insecurities onto others inadvertently. In general, none of these methods of communication rewards the other person's brain for engaging with you. Often, these statements tend to be self-serving and self-centered and one-sided. Every time you share your own thoughts, ideas, opinions, and judgments of the world, the other person receiving this information is being polite at best when listening. Most often, they can't wait for you to shush, be quiet, so they can share their thoughts and opinions with you in reciprocity. I'm not suggesting that you or anyone else is ruining all your relationships when you communicate this way, but I can guarantee you could be doing it much better and strengthening them. I often say if you are looking to open someone's mind to new ideas that differ from your own, you don't plant those seeds with people by telling them what you think. You plant those seeds with them by asking them what they think. Reflect in your own life and experiences. Are you more apt to act or open up your mind to new ideas when someone else tells you what they think and tells you what you should do or shouldn't do? Or are you more likely to take action and open up your mind and even change your thoughts and opinions if someone asks you what you think? Every time you find yourself in a situation where you want to tell someone your ideas, tell them about a new policy, share with them your own insights about what you think about a situation or the world at large, whether it be politics, the economy, raising children, or that important merger or acquisition, instead of telling them what you think, ask them what they think about them. For example, I like to highlight the difference between trying to convince someone versus trying to inspire someone. Convincing someone creates a mindset in ourselves, and it's completely focused on what we want someone to do, think, or believe. Inspiring someone is about focusing on them and thinking in terms of, so why should they want to believe something, listen to something, or change their minds from their point of view? For example, a common occurrence these days is the very different and sometimes contentious opinions regarding the news that we as individuals or groups consume. As an example of one of my favorite illustrations is being between two people of different contexts of the world. One of these people has their own source of information, as the Fox News Network say. The other individual has their only source of information as maybe the CNN News Network. This is a great example of context based on where an individual consumes their information from. The challenge is not to judge the other person as right or wrong, just as they are. Think back about the story in the last video of my friend Jack Barsky, the deep undercover agent. Also, what someone watches for news is such a very small part of the whole of who they are. If spy recruiters, leaders, parents, and partners decided to negatively judge people based upon one small part of the whole, no one in this world would ever speak to one another again. In this example, it's common for someone to hear the point of view, opinion, or story that someone has heard from an opposing news article. Our immediate instinct is to argue that point of view, argue that context, and argue against that opinion. We continually try to convince someone that they're wrong, that their opinion is wrong, that their sources of information are wrong, and that we are correct. There are a few certain guarantees in human behavior, and just listening to those words right there, you know the result. The result is shields will go up. No information is going in, and no one is ever going to be convinced that they are wrong about their own opinion or point of view using that methodology. The dialogue I just described is all about trying to convince someone that they're wrong and of your point of view. Now, a more effective way of communicating and inspiring trust with someone and demonstrating that you value them and demonstrating that you want to affiliate with them is thinking in terms of can I inspire them to listen to my ideas instead of trying to convince them of your point of view. Start thinking and framing your mind a little differently about how to communicate in terms of others and not yourself. For many years, while inside the FBI, people were trained to think in terms of convincing someone to cooperate with the United States government, or convincing them to give you information to benefit national security of the United States, or even the ultimate level, convincing them to betray their country and support the United States as a spy. What the best recruiters of spies in the world know, just as the greatest salespeople in the world know, as well as the greatest leaders in the world know, is you cannot convince anyone to do anything that they do not think is in their best interest or aligned with their own priorities, thoughts, and opinions and values. Instead, it is best to think in terms of how can I inspire them to want to. Convincing someone is about yourself and what you want someone to do. Inspiring someone is about them and what they want to do. In this example of the difference of opinion between someone who watches a Fox News network and someone who watches CNN, people would often love to convince the other person that they're wrong and that their point of view is correct. But we all know that will not happen. Let go of trying to convince the other person of your point of view and think in terms of how can I inspire them to at least listen to my point of view. Say you hear an opinion, and that opinion doesn't happen to align with yours. Our initial response is to reply, well, that's not what I think. Here's what I think. That initial type of response, whether it's those exact words or at least the sentiment, will immediately send up the shields from the other person because you just negated the other person's point of view. You're challenging their context and you're definitely not validating their thoughts and opinions. Instead of denouncing their point of view, challenging what they're thinking, say something to the effect of, wow, I haven't quite heard it put that way before. How did you come up with that? In other words, instead of saying that what you think is wrong, ask them what they think and seek their thoughts and opinions. Once they give you that point of view, continue to explore and be curious without judging, or at least be discerning. Here's an exercise for you to try. If you like, take a listen to any of my podcast episodes on my Forged by Trust podcast. Even the most recent one will have all these examples I'm talking about. You can find them by category on my website, robindreeke.com, as well as my YouTube channel right here. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well so you never miss an episode with life-changing insights with these incredible individuals that come on to share. Now, during each episode, you'll hear me continue to seek the thoughts and opinions of the guests I'm chatting with and the great bond and trust that is forged. I encourage you to do that and take this communication skill set and make it your own.